51, Adventures in Sound.
I'm Rich Batchelor.
Mark Major.
We at the Cool Album Covers have been getting frankly encyclopedic lately, and where would we be if we didn't do a special on, you could describe some of these as the albums that came with your stereo back in the day, because that's what they were.
As punishment.
But on the other hand, others are just all about celebrating the science of sound itself, or, for that matter, something that you theoretically would use, although God knows why you'd use this. Case in point, at the first position, we have Sound for a Picture Evening, not to be confused with Pictures for a Sound Evening.
Never thought of it like that.
I know, there's nothing sound about, for instance, that black and white vomit or whatever that they put on the...
But let me say that this was years and years and years before Metallica's Load. I would like to point this out as a kind of a pioneer cover.
Yeah, it was a better world.
Yeah, it was a different world. It was a black and white world.
Yeah, it's like, Randy Pollock, it's like, hey, I'm doing it too, but monochromatic, check it out, And
I like how they're trying to make us think that this is some sort of telescope into space photography. Like, we're looking at a supernova, but me and you just noticed someone dripped a bunch of white paint onto, like, a black canvas and smeared it.
Yeah, there's a lot of, photo emulsion. The person that made this died of cancer years ago.
Patterns in sound. What I like already is the fact that everyone is going to go for something different for the cover of what they think sound looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Like in some cases, it looks like supernova. In other cases, it looks like quilting.
Yeah, in this particular case, it is neither, it's not particle, it's not wave, it's woven. And also, I'm not sure why master recording it on 35mm magnetic film would make any difference at all. This is my album. I've listened to it. It sounds more or less like other albums from that time period. But Enoch Light was one of only a few who dared, really, to put it on 35mm magnetic film.
You've become such a snob that you can only listen to 35 mag.
It's true.
Get that away from me. Put on the Jaws soundtrack.
Yeah, let's go into my private movie theater so we can listen to this new album by Enoch Light and the Light Brigade. By the way, there's a version of Working in the Coal Mine on that album that's great.
Really?
I'm absolutely serious.
Oh, you maybe should post it.
Yeah, good idea. The Science of Sound. Now, this actually is a graphic representation of what sound would look like on...
I thought it was like Golden Gate Bridge or something. Wow, great.
Or it's also the Oregon Convention Center 30 years before it was built. Again, way back in the day, and I've got a lot of these records now,
Just one.
It came with your stereo, and I've got one that came with your Admiral stereo in particular that's hilarious, and I also got the one that's just called Stereo Lab that years later the band Stereo Lab would borrow for one of their album covers, because, come on.
Yeah, why not? Well, I have some 8-tracks that came with a car.
Yeah, the Oldsmobile. They did that up until the time of the CD.
Yeah, talk about punishment.
Yeah, I know.
Sounds in space!
It's true, and it took me a while to realize that I was...
Sounds in space!
No. I got a ways into this one, and then I realized that I was listening to Ken Nordine. He keeps it pretty straight for the most part until in the middle there where you hear the sound effect of his footsteps as he's walking around, asking himself, how am I going to get across to them the magic of RCA Victor stereo? And
so it was an inside job.
It's true, yeah. He
got conned into it. This is just an advertisement.
How are things in your town? Yeah, I mean, he hadn't gone full-on subversive yet. He was still mostly working for the man at that point, but already the weirdness was starting to creep up around the edges.
I really like this cover. It has a bit of a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy feel to it.
Mm-hmm. Decidedly low-tech, despite the fact that we somehow managed to get out into space to be able to take the picture.
And then later draw circles.
How to make the rules.
In the pole position.
Dual Hammond organ, Ingenuity and Sound, and Buddy Cole, and oh man, I could go on here.
This looks like a combination of q-bert the movie and Tetris the movie.
Yeah, the q-bert is there. The Workshop series is interesting. Basically, in those days, record labels were going all kinds of sideways. They're like, let's do a series of everything. They're like us, actually. They're like us now in what we do.
Yeah, this episode is the Workshop series.
Yeah, that's true. And then the other one is Lounging and Relaxing series, where everyone's got a highball.
Oh, wait, hopefully that's next week.
Well, actually, this is another example of those albums where they blew their wad on the album cover itself because the album itself is so boring.
I think you should take the vinyl out and throw it away and just keep the cardboard then.
I paid, 50 cents American for it, and, yep. Thanks a lot, Buddy Cole, and thanks a lot, America, for this week's episode of Cool Album Covers.
Buddy Cole.
Ingenuity and sound.